Hello and welcome back to the Proving Grounds pod, your one-stop shop for all things Proving Grounds. My name is Smax, his name is Cubby, and we also have Jean Tuesday here with us today alongside Jean.
Yes.
I said I was going to say it right, and then I already did it. I was so proud of myself too. Jean. Oh my God.
Hello.
We're just two washed up support players trying to cast things, and we even say things wrong, so we're not good at anything. But anyway, hey man, how are you today?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, no worries. I get it often. I get it mixed up pretty often, so I don't take offense to it or anything.
We were like clarifying this like beforehand. We're like, what is it? And Jean goes, it's Jean. And we're like, all right, we got this. Smax was like, I've seen Les Mis. I've got this. And he's gonna get it for the rest of the episode. But
I absolutely am.
Maybe he needed some of the coffee that Jean made. I already had my coffee.
Yeah.
We're good to go for the
Slight disclaimer, so I can use this as an excuse. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I just had some tomato soup and grilled cheese. Shout out to my wife. Wife buff is cool. Gigantic. But that was great. But yeah. Anyway,
powering through.
Just to get for sure.
Max is a true professional.
Yeah. Just to get right into things. Tuesday, we've got you here on the show today. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We can of course introduce you, but I want to hear it from you, like how you got to amateur and everything.
No worries. Well, I'm John, mostly known as Tuesday. I've been playing League professionally for I think 4 years now, going on to my 5th one. First year in amateur, but before that I spent 4 years in academy. Went through a lot of different teammates, but mostly stayed on CLG, or not mostly. I definitely stayed on CLG for all these years. And yeah, besides that, there's not that many things. I won the Tylership Invitational last year. Maybe some of you guys will know me as that guy.
Yeah.
And won our first amateur tournament, and here I am. So.
Yeah, that would be the reason that we were trying to get a SolaFide member on, and we were like, damn, Tuesday's popping off in that final. So here we are coming on through. And I'd say, obviously, we're going to hit SolaFide and your current team later, but I think one of the really interesting things is the fact that, as you mentioned, you spent the vast majority of your career so far with CLG, even going back to CLG Black. So that team, was that like, were you guys competing in amateur events, or was that like the start of like academy, or like how'd that come to be?
So that all started with the first ever scouting grounds that I was a part of. And after the event, CLG wanted 5 players from the event, and they went with, I think, their team, who was Team Ocean at the time, if I'm not mistaken, and me, who was I was the only one that was not on their initial roster. But I think at the time, the mid laners that were invited didn't play many champions, and I was the only one who had a somewhat of a vast champion pool. So I got picked up by them, and the goal was to make it through open qualifiers at the time and beat the lowest seed Challenger Series team, so we could get ourselves into Challenger Series. So that was the goal of the team. I think I remember I think we got picked up in November or in December, and we had our tournament, or like our first open qualifier, in a few weeks from then, and we actually failed that, which was really upsetting to everyone and the org. I thought, or at least I think the entire team thought, that we would get dropped right away, and our esports life was over, because we were kind of the favorites going into it. We were a pretty good team, all high challenger, scouting grounds, all that stuff. And I think we lost to one of the university teams. So, yeah, that was really scary at the time. But CLG actually ended up, keeping me, or keeping us. And then we actually all flew into the gaming house in Los Angeles, and we started practicing for the open qualifier, the next one that would happen 4 months later.
Yeah.
And
so that team was actually University of Toronto, which would have been coached by Invert, Deos, and then Lena was a part of that as well. Smax.
Yep, I'll have nightmares of
that. They had
that
some
series
good players
forever.
though, because like JJ and Engo ended up moving into the academy.
Yep.
Ari was pretty good, and Yummy Bananas was even teased. But yeah, that roster. So that was you, and then it was Fallen Bandit top with Omar God, who was always a jungler that was like really teased. As like someone like potentially like step up in an LCS with Zag and Phil in the bot lane. And yeah, I'm curious, like, now that you are back in the amateur scene now, like how like for you, like how has that changed? Like from like what it was back then to now.
I don't know, honestly. So for me, I guess my amateur experience with CLG Black was really like, how to say, I guess we were in really good conditions, living conditions, because we signed with them, and then a month after, we flew into this really nice house that they had for us prepared, and we had food, we had basically the same treatment that an academy team would have back in amateur, or I guess Challenger Series at the time. So yeah, I mean, I think the biggest difference for me from then to now is how back then we were all 5 basically rookies that had never been on a real team before, or like a competitive team. I think we've all been on like some sort of amateur team, but we were basically rookies with not a lot of knowledge about the game, and it was really hard to learn. Like it's like trying to teach yourself something you don't know, and everyone doesn't know it on the team. While now, obviously on the team that I am, we're all veterans and we're all very experienced, and we all know how the game should be played, at least to like, a decent level. So that would probably be the biggest, the biggest difference, I would say.
Yeah, I mean,
Also,
one of the biggest things about like learning the game is knowing the right questions to ask. But if there's no one to ask the questions to, then it's kind of hard because you have to ask yourself the question, and then you have to go back and look at all your games and be like, well, what am I doing wrong, and all of that stuff.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I think the first year that I spent on CLG, even though I made great memories and it was a lot of fun, lived my dream for the first year, I, looking back on it, think it was a very useless year of my pro gaming career, and probably hurt me more than it helped me, just because I don't wish upon any rookie to join a team full of rookies with not like, we had one coach at the time, not a lot of support from, I guess, the main team players. Obviously, like, it's not really something that you can expect. The main team players are also doing their own thing, and you can't really expect them to help you out that much. So yeah, that first year was definitely rough. We did a lot of losing and not a lot of improving. And when you're playing in esports, especially in league, people expect you to perform really fast, and you don't really have time to like develop that much. So yeah, that's why I think it's really important if you're a rookie to make sure that the first ever on and the first showing that you get to do, you're on or like you're in an environment that allows you to shine, really, because
sure. I'm curious. So you mentioned that. Well, Cubby mentioned this that you had your teammates Fallen Bandit, Omar God, Zag, who is now Hooks. A lot of people would know him as Auto, I believe.
Yep. He went through Zag, Auto, Hook, Zaganox.
The legendary
Zaganox was the beginning.
The legendary autofill bot lane.
Oh, that was so funny.
Yeah. I was in the kitchen when they decided they were gonna do it. It was funny.
That is hilarious. But yeah, I wanted to know like what you thought about your teammates who are still around in the scene, right? We've got Fallen Bandit, who's a coach of 100 Next. We also have Hooks now, who's back on CLG. What are you thinking about those guys? Like, do you think that they probably feel the same about that year that you guys spent together? Or,
definitely. I mean, I'm close with all of them. We spent so much time together. Those are like definitely the best friends that I have in the scene. So we've like talked about it a lot in the past few years, and we all share the same sentiment that it's not a winning formula to put rookies together and expect I think the motto of the orgs, or like some orgs just think that if they put 5 rookies together, then they might get 1 diamond out of them, and that then they'll call it a success for the development year that they had. But I think it's really unfair to the rookies, and I don't think it actually works like that. I think you need like some sort of understanding of the game, so you don't just get stomped over and over, which is basically what happened for us the first year. We were in Challenger Series, not winning any games, scrimming, not winning any scrims, and it's not really, even though it's not really about winning, like you need a certain amount of you need a certain amount of like success to feel like you're improving, So
Yeah.
That's
I wonder what Fallen Bandit thinks about 100 next then.
I was about to say that's really interesting to hear because like Otto was kind of the veteran of that roster, right?
100 next, right?
Yeah, like and they got the only player that wasn't promoted was Fallen Bandit, who had to step in and play as a coach. And I think he's proven that he is a very, very, very talented coach. Just given the fact that everyone moved up, in Otto or now Hooks' case or Osama's case, right? He moved back up, which is awesome.
Yep. I mean, I don't want to speak on behalf of Fallen Bennett or Kevin, but obviously, from what I heard, when Osama was on the team, he was the main voice of the team and gave them a lot of guidance, which these rookie all needed. And I'm not sure exactly why they went with a different approach to this year's roster, but that's that's on them. I stand by the fact that it's really important that you get at least 2 veterans, in my opinion. The best formula to like actually have rookies that look good and actually get better is probably a mix of 3 veterans, 2 rookies, which you can invest a lot in your 2 rookies that you think will be very good, and then give them a good surrounding of veterans that can make sure that they actually progress and they don't stall at their level. And it's proven time and time again with C9 Academy that it works. C9 Academy is probably the best fostering talent team that we have in LCS Academy. And that's been the formula they've been going with for 2, 3, 4 years now, maybe. And it's really mind-boggling to me to see other teams just not follow in their footsteps and think that, the style that they're doing is better. And I'm not just pointing at 100 Thieves. I think 100 Thieves also did a great job with 100 Next. But it happens so much in Academy. It's crazy. Like the amount of teams that just want rookies no matter what, and that they think that it will work some way or the other, but it usually doesn't. So yeah.
I am also curious that you guys went the exact opposite direction with SolaFide. So that team came together. Based on when you guys posted that GIF, it must have been around like December, or I think
late November, early December.
Yeah.
I just remember like talking with I was talking with like APA or Ian like before like their roster was announced, and I was like, man, like some of the like rosters like coming up are like pretty good. Like I think at that time Anu was starting to announce their teams. I'm like, if Anu Rising's their 3rd team, like what's their 1st team like? It probably has 5 Fire on it. And then APA's like, dude, just wait till you see like 3 of these rosters. Like it's gonna blow everyone out of the water. And then we saw that GIF posted by the 5U, and we're like, oh boy,
it's coming.
Yeah.
I was out of the loop, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a pretty sick Academy team. I wonder which org got that.
Right.
And then I saw the Academy announcements one by one. I was like, oh,
there's no spots left.
Yeah.
I get to cast Zazel? Are you guys sure? Like,
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy for me. I get to play with them. So
yeah. So you guys definitely took that approach. I hope that the Not Academy team organization got the developmental fees for you guys, by the way. As they they took all 5 of the players.
The legendary developmental fees.
Well, yeah, I'm curious about how that all came together. Because obviously, like U5 are very tenured players. Minus maybe Winston, but even then, he was on TSM Academy for last year. So, seeing that, I'm curious about like maybe you can't speak for all 5 of you, but what kind of that off season went like for all 5 of you guys?
Yeah, I'm not sure about them, but I think we're probably all in a similar boat where, coming back to what I was talking to you guys about, I think we're all players that have played for a while in Academy now, which I think is fair. I think, at least for my case, I think it is really fair that, I was well overdue to leave CLG if I was not to get promoted to the LCS squad. Even though I could still be of Hughes and I'm still very good and, Academy level, I think It's just for them, it's time to try something new, and for me, it's also it's time to try something new. So the off season for me kind of went like that. I knew I knew going into literally like the start of last year when I re-signed with them. I knew that this was going to be my last year with them in academy. To be fair, I thought the year prior to that was going to be my last year with them, but I ended up re-signing with them an extra one. Because yeah, I mean, it's just not really how academy works, and I think it's fine. I don't really have any hard feelings about that. I have some regrets, definitely. I think as I like grow older in the scene, I think it's really important that you switch environments and you switch teams and get to meet new teammates, because I guess I'm going a little bit away from the question now, but I hope it's fine.
Okay.
But no, basically, I've learned the most from teammates. It's usually like that. It's rare that coaches like teach you that much about the game. It's mostly about in-game learning, and I learned the most from when Wiggly first came onto CLG. That was the first time I really learned about the game, like how it's supposed to be played properly. And I just think people who go from teams to teams and from players to players, even though it's quite annoying because you always have to start over like brand new and meet new people and like get out of the house, change houses. Like it's a lot of like annoying steps, but it's definitely, I think now that I look back on it, the best way to improve at the game and like have different ideas, because everyone plays the game differently. You get to make your own judgment on all of their like thought processes, and that's something that I definitely lacked throughout my career because I stayed with the same people for so long, which is prone to stalling, especially if we're not, the best in all of our roles. So yeah, definitely have some regrets. It's not really towards CLG as an org, mostly towards my like career path. I guess I was at one point, we made finals with CLG Academy, and I was definitely, I think I was like, looked up as one of the better upcoming mids, and it would have been good for me definitely to just move around, meet new people, or like meet new teammates, and learn the game that way, and also make connections that way, which is really important. Can't be understated in the league scene. Because when this offseason came around, even though I made semifinals last play in academy, and I'm sure Dokla can relate to that, and I'm sure Winston can relate to that, where we've all, they made finals, I made semifinals, and we all, I think, didn't get the offers that we really wanted when it came to academy this offseason. And yeah, I mean, I think maybe some of them had like one or two like lingering ones that they could have chosen. I'm not sure. We haven't really spoke about it, but I think we got, I mean, if I'm being honest, like if we're all back here in an amateur, like there's a reason for it. We probably all didn't get many or none. So I think, I mean, it was kind of a eye-opening moment for all of us, especially for me, because I felt like, coming off of like semi-finals, I thought I had a pretty strong like showing that split. I just kind of figured that I don't think that matters that much anymore. It's mostly about how does you say, I guess, narratives. Like I've been on CLG for 4 years, which means I've been in academy for 4 years, which means my ceiling has been hit, or so. Like that's how people view it, especially when it comes to like GMs and teams in general.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it doesn't really, it's not really something that was gonna like discourage me or anything. I was really happy when SolaFide contacted me and told me like what they were looking for and the players that they were looking for and the goals that they wanted to achieve this year, because I definitely want to prove myself still and some revenge on these academy teams. Obviously, I think I can speak on the behalf of all of us though on that topic. I think we all are very, very excited to shit on some academy teams this proving ground, and just make GMs feel bad about their team losing to us. That'll be good.
A trend with our guests.
Yeah, 3 episodes in, and all 3 of you guys have mentioned that. And
yeah,
I have to
revenge.
Say, hey, rightfully so, right?
Yep.
Especially like looking at your roster, I think it's safe to say that given the fact that the resources that your org is putting into the scene and the pedigree that you guys walk into with the names on this roster. You guys definitely kind of came in with a target on your head. Just given the fact that
Yeah.
you
figured that out.
yeah, no, yeah, you guys figured that out pretty fast. But yeah, I mean, I like for you guys as well, like as players. I mean, this is actually a pretty nice situation for you, given the fact that there's an org that really supports you, and also the fact that you aren't tied up into like a year-long academy contract, right? So, especially like for a player like like Zazel, if something goes dire for an LCS team, like he can go get plug and played, right?
Yeah, and I think, I mean, obviously it applies mostly to Zazel, but I think it applies to all of us.
Yeah, I think so too.
Especially, I mean, when I look at the LCS players, it was also, to add up to this offseason, it was a really weird offseason because I saw a lot of my colleagues, I guess you can call them, or my like opponents that I've played with for the past 2-3 years, get promoted to LCS. Either get promoted to LCS or not find a team at all, which I was on the latter one, but like when I think of players like Insanity was a little bit prior, maybe like a few months before, but there was Insanity, there was a Blaze Olive, there was Soligo, there was Palafox. Basically half of the mids that I used to play with in Academy that year ended up being promoted to LCS, which I'm super happy for them. Like, we're in similar boats, and I'm sure they were feeling like really, like we know we're racing against the clock every year that we play in Academy. And it was nice to see them finally get their shot. And by their shot, I mean not like, oh, we'll try this guy for a weekend and see how it goes, and then drop him back down to Academy because obviously he didn't 1v9 his first LCS game, By a shot, I meant he actually got a full like off season where they told him, hey, we're going with you next year. And they got, weeks of practice with the team, and they got the security of like, okay, like this is my spot and I just need to perform to keep it, which is much better than, oh, I need to replace and I need to perform like above and beyond. So yeah, I was really happy for them. And yeah, I mean, it just brings me back to like, to me, it was crazy because I played with them for so long. I've matched up against them like, well to better to like some of them worse. Obviously, I think Palafox, I mean, it would have been a crime if he didn't get onto an LCS team this year. But I think for the rest, like we've all got our strengths, all got our weaknesses, and I don't think we're far apart from each other. And 4 of them made LCS, and I had a hard time finding Academy, and I ended up being an amateur, right? So it was kind of crazy, but at the same time, seeing them do well, especially right now, I think most of them are doing pretty well in the lock-in tournament, at least that I saw. Brings me hope that, if I perform very well this year in amateur, and I beat Academy teams, I beat Academy mid laners, I could also make that jump to LCS. And then that goes for Winston, that goes for Dokla, that goes for Apollo. Obviously, all of us are very good, and we've all showed that, we can be the top of Academy, we are the top of amateur right now, and we can be an LCS. So
yeah.
Yep.
So it's definitely pretty clear that you feel that you're still competitive with those guys that did get LCS promotions for this split. Are you feeling that same level of competitiveness against the current Academy like mid laners that are like in those teams? Like how are you feeling you're going to be stacking up against them once you guys do play against them? Because we all know you're going to qualify for the proving grounds at this
You can
trajectory.
also throw in some of the amateur mid laners right now as
for sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's hard to say for the new Academy mid laners. Well, besides the previous amateur ones, I think there's a lot of I think there's a few like imports or players that I haven't really played against much. There's like the Pretty guy. There is a
Copy's new for
Copy
Academy.
is somewhat new. I haven't really
Yumbi.
played against him much.
Yumbi was down here last,
yeah.
And
So I haven't
Jojo.
played against many of them. I've played mostly against them in solo queue, which solo queue is hard. It's a different game, but at the same time, I did feel that they were good. I don't think that they're anything special at the moment. It's always like that, where I think there's a lot of new faces in Academy this year, which means that Academy is a lot weaker than it usually is, at least from my point of view. A lot of these players, while they're good mechanically and they've got solid mechanics, they lack a lot when it comes to experience and knowledge, and it's a real thing, So
Yeah.
I think I would stack up against most of them fine to better. I'm not really worried. I'm very excited to play them, but I'm not really worried about, me and how I'm going to stack up against them. I think it'll be just fine. But yeah, in amateur, honestly, I don't feel like I have any rivals yet in amateur. I feel like, if I'm being honest, I kind of just, I'm practicing and I'm having fun with the guys winning, but I'm just hoping for it to speed up a little bit so we can play academy teams and proving grounds teams. So yeah, that's kind of where I am.
Yeah, I think that's where, like, at least like from our perspective, right? Like from like covering the games, there's a very clear top 5, top 6 teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at like the 2 new rosters, Barrage, EGP, and then Maryville, which I expected them to be up there, but obviously like their start helps as well. Just given like their track record.
Their start was definitely a good one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we might talk about that. The one point I did bring up as we are talking to Tuesday. We are recording this on a Wednesday, and we will post it tomorrow on Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah, I was pointing out that one, but I was on.
Cubby knows the days of the week.
Yeah, I was talking on Tim's podcast, Oracle's Elixir, or the True Sight podcast, I should say, earlier today, and they also had they have a very competent and good coaching staff, and they had 2 weeks of footage to go off of for you guys, and you had none to go off of for them. So I think that Maryville, once they get scouted a little bit, may not be as strong as what we saw initially. Smax, and you were on the cast, but there is a very clear top 6 teams, and when you do the math, 6, 10 academy teams, 16 teams in proving grounds, I'm really curious to see if that changes throughout the next this tier 2 and then the next one as well. Because I don't see many of the teams outside of that top 6, besides maybe Mirage, pushing that envelope. And I'm curious to see if any of those academy teams may not qualify for proving grounds.
I know.
I have a feeling that I have a weird inkling that 1 or 2 academy teams might be struggling, might have to play in that last chance tournament.
I could definitely see that happen. I think the top 4 academy amateur teams are honestly pretty good. I've got to give it to them. I think they all have, I think Tristan Zazal pointed out on one of the interviews. I think they all have specific styles that they lean into very heavily, which is good. I think our team, we kind of just try and play the game well in general. But you can also, play a certain style, and if you play well enough, then it becomes very good, which some of these tops amateur teams like Barrage and EGP do really well, and definitely threw us off guard when we played them. I also think we're not super good at the moment as a team, and I think we're going to get there. But I think some of them can definitely take off academy teams. I mean, I think a lot of academy teams' rosters are weaker than amateur rosters this year. Probably the bottom 4 academy is weaker than the top 4 amateur on paper. So it's all going to be how better do they get before we face them, because they do get better scrims. Yeah, they get better scrims, they get better environment. Well, I don't know about environment, but they get to all be in the same house together, which can be understated. It's really important in my opinion. And they get to practice every day. They only have league to worry about, and they get academy scrims, and they play on 8 ping, and a lot of factors where their practice is probably better or more efficient than most of us in amateur. But I do think at the moment, if we were to play against academy teams like today, I think a lot of them would not make it compared to amateur teams. Yeah,
I have watched the academy games, and the top tier of academy is very good.
I mean, my team we've been scrimming academy teams a lot.
For
the past 2-3 weeks. So I know, definitely. I think.
But do the academy teams have bunnies behind them?
They do not. That is a buff. The bunny buff cannot be understated either.
The bunny buff.
I don't know if you can see there. Yeah, right here.
There they are.
Yep.
Oh,
I know. It is.
Yeah,
it is.
I wanted to get your opinion on your team as a whole. You already mentioned that they had some pretty clear goals coming into into this proving ground season, I think we're pretty aware that one of the main goals is just to win the whole thing. But
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, is there anything specific that the SolaFide team has like as a goal, and how do you feel you align with their trajectory and their goals going
Yeah.
into this?
I mean, from what I know, they are willing, to pay the price to win, and I want to win, so I'm pretty aligned with what they want. They want to win the whole thing, and they want to keep winning for the years to come when it comes to amateur. And yeah, I mean, I was pretty much sold when they told me that the rosters they were going to with and the resources that we had. I think all of it was definitely just a good opportunity for me, and we're just gonna win it all for them and for us, for ourselves, of course. But yeah,
I also think that like this is a really, like you were talking about, like not only changing environments but also like putting yourself as a player in a position to succeed. And I definitely think that like with the change of scouting grounds, which you participated in the first one, obviously it went under a few evolutions, but the change of that to proving grounds now, this isn't something that we would see a team like SolaFide coming in and making that investment, or players like you if it was still scouting grounds, right? The fact that the schedule allows for you to get academy scrims, the fact that there's an org that still supports you guys playing exclusively League full time, and the fact that like this is an opportunity where you guys get to look good, right? And it's not like you're pub stomping teams. Like there are legitimate good teams in amateur this year, and you guys get to prove that like you are still on top of your game and the best of them as well. I think it's definitely a really unique thing about the ecosystem that I know that there are like still a few things that like Riot's figuring out, but just like the baseline change of it enables better competition, right? And you as a team being involved, well, like that's going to help up the entirety of amateur too, because
definitely.
Obviously, practicing and scrimming against those teams or just playing matches against them, it's going to force teams to get better, because right now you did drop a game to Mary or a match to Maryville, but you still are the top dogs coming out of Risen, and the other teams have to figure out ways to be able to compete and beat you.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously it's really good. I didn't expect this level of competition right away, if I'm being honest, when I came into amateur, but it's good to see. I think also it's like, I don't know, we've been scrimming, we were laughing about it, me and the guys, because we've been playing together for 3 weeks now. And when we finally won our finals at Risen, we were like, damn, like it feels like an entire academy split, even maybe 2 that is over,
Tomorrow, new league.
Yeah, and then tomorrow, new league. That was kind of crazy. Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit right after this point, but it's been a crazy ride, and man, it's just been really fun. Like in academy, I can't tell you how boring it is, and how like, I don't know, it's not fun to play 1 best of 1 or 2 best of 1s a week for an 8-week, while you're scrimming, like 60 games prior to the best of 1, and then you go into it, and it's just it's more stressful than fun, because it's so important. Every game is so important, and you can't mess up, you can't go for risky plays, you can't really show off your skills, in my opinion at least. And you're mostly just playing reserved and waiting for the enemy to mess up, and I don't know, I don't think it makes it for the best practice environment, especially on like game day environments, compared to amateur, where in the past 2 weeks I've probably played over like 50 games competitively, or maybe not 50, maybe like 35, 40 competitive games. And yeah, I mean, that's what League is about. Like we play this game 14 hours a day, and when we go to academy or even LCS, then it makes no sense that we only play 2 hours of competitive a week, So I know, I don't make the rules, and it's for viewerships and stuff like that, LCS and like make it out to be, but as a player, playing in amateur has been so much more fun than playing in academy, because the competition is high, and we actually get to play best of 5s early in our split. Like there's always matches. You lose, okay, like shit, it sucks, but you got another match coming up the next day. So you don't really have time to like feel down. Like, yeah, it's just a whole different vibe, and I've been really enjoying it so far. I wish academy and LCS would find ways to like incorporate more games into their schedule, because it just makes it less stressful and makes it more enjoyable for the players, for sure. Yeah,
that's cool. That is a much different take than what we've gotten in the past.
Yeah, we haven't heard that one yet. But
yeah,
I
usually
appreciate
it sounds like there should it sounds like from your take and also the takes of others is that there should be a medium that isn't 2 games, but also isn't 50 games.
Yeah, okay, definitely. To add on that, like while it's been fun, I think
It's a lot.
after the finals, actually even after the semifinals against Barrage, it kind of felt like the finals were like holy fuck, like okay, we finally won, like it's over.
Yeah.
But then we just have the finals the next day, which is another full best of 5, and it's kind of a wild ride, definitely.
Yeah.
Because in academy usually like it's not back to back. You play one best of 5, and then you have a week to prepare for the next one, and then. But yeah, here it was like okay, we finished our. And to me, like as a player, I guess I'm like anxiety or like anxiousness driven player, which it might be weird, but basically like before the matches I get really nervous and anxious, or not like really like badly, but enough to where like I feel very focused and I feel like I won't like take it lightly, and I tend to be pretty focused in my games, which that happened on Saturday against Barrage, and then the next day against EGP, I was trying to get back in the same mood or in the same like, but it was much harder because I felt like I used all of my like anxious juice, I guess, the day before. So I was having a hard time getting back into the zone against EGP, which I think is the only reason why the series was hard against that team. I think if we were on the form that we were the day prior to that, we would have 3-0'd them really easily. But yeah.
Well, first off, game 4 of the semifinals against Barrage, you played Syndra into Vayne, and I got to cast that game with Rafa, and like the entire time, I'm like, this Vayne cannot get an auto attack down because Tuesday is just holding Scatter of the Week, and this Vayne, you played that game. Yeah, you played well for the entire series, but you played that game especially superbly, in my eyes at least. I am curious though.
It was really good.
Obviously, going up against Barrage, we were pitching it as the true finals. It feels like you kind of felt it was the true finals too.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the narrative got pushed onto us, and it's one of those things where we didn't play either of these teams once. We never played Barrage or EGP prior to these 2 best of 5s, so we really didn't know what to expect. And yeah, I mean, Barrage showed up and they were pretty good. So yeah.
Much like a lot of the players on your roster, I have no idea why Fnatic's down here in amateur either, but he is. So he's definitely a very good player on the Rift. But I'm curious more about. I know we were talking about mids, but specifically APA, because like one of the things that we prepped is the fact that the mid jungle duos for each team are very different, right? Like Fnatic and APA. APA is like a support with gold, like playing like Karma Galio. Fnatic loves to impact the lanes early, whereas Winston oftentimes, I know you guys swaps it up a couple games that series because I hadn't really seen his Talia yet, but he oftentimes plays for tempo and you play more for like lane and scaling into the like later parts of the game. What's it like playing against like that completely different playstyle coming on through? Why do you think you guys ended up coming out on top too?
Yeah, I mean, so if I want to give my really honest opinion on this, because I feel like while I did get told that, he would roam a lot and was somewhat of a supportive role and stuff like that, I felt at least against, in that series that we played together, or that we played against each other, I didn't feel like he was, impacting the map at all, really, any of these games, even when he was on the Karma and even when he was on, I think it might have been only the Karma that he was playing like roaming champs, but it just felt to me mostly as like, he was just laning and some matchups he had prior, but I never felt like he was linking with his jungler much, that series at least, to like impact my bot lane or my top lane. And I think most of the series, it was just under turret, going down in CS. It didn't feel very threatening. So maybe we'll have a better showing the next time we play against each other. But I did get told, obviously, or like I watched some of the VODs where they're supposed to play together, but I thought against us, they didn't really did much as a mid jungle duo. And yeah, to go back onto the me and Winston thing, I think it's very fair. I think right now we're not the best. We're working on it really hard. Duo queue, game day, scrims to play together better, because right now he's much more of a farming into like looking for like bot or like top plays, and I don't think he instinctively goes through mid a lot. And obviously I've been playing Orianna, Syndra, Victor mostly, so it's kind of hard to set up anything, and I'm just mostly farming. But we know that this can't keep on forever. So we've been actively like playing other stuff, which I can play other champions, and I've even in the academy I was mostly like a Galio and Rumble
I like
two-trick
your
player.
TF
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I played TF. Like I played a lot of roaming champs because it was really good for my team at the time. I think at the moment it's really good for me for this team to play control mages and kind of control the game at like a slower pace. But we've also been working on other stuff that we're eager to pull out on game days. It's very hard because we have game days every day, so we don't really want to like pull out something that we're not too prepared on randomly without practicing it. And to be fair, we haven't really scrimmed in the past week and a half because we've just had game days every day.
Yeah.
And funny story, actually, when we lost the wild card, we were on the schedule where we would scrim in the morning and then play our best of threes right after. And I think after that game, we kind of figured out that, okay, maybe it's better that we don't scrim in the morning and we actually just focus on our games.
Yeah.
Because going into the wildcard game, we had just finished a best of 5 against an academy team. And we had an hour break, and then we had a best of 3 against wildcard. And I think everyone was like a lot less focused. And, we all just played individually so much worse. So after that, we were like, okay, let's, play our matches that are important without scrimming, and then we'll try and find practice elsewhere. But I think we're also figuring out that it's probably going to come down to us just first timing comps on game day, just because there's so many game days that like if you want to change styles and practice something different, you just have to. So yeah, me and Winston have been doing a lot and getting better on it. But
well, Tuesday, at least it's not like scouting grounds last year, where let me fill you in on what that was like when you
scouting
played.
grounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Did you watch it a lot?
I watched a little bit of it. Yeah, I think I'd probably catch most of the games.
So there was six tournaments.
I don't doubt you, but also I do kind of doubt you because most of the games means you were watching like 5 times a week.
There were 6 tournaments running
Actually,
throughout the week.
Yeah,
they all had their own days at the same time.
Oh, you mean I don't know why I thought scouting grounds.
That's like
it was
circuit.
the last amateur tournament,
Yeah,
right?
that was like
yeah. We should have clarified.
Like top 8 were pretty easy to watch. But
I'm a good friend with Fallen Bennett, right? And he was, and I mean, Fallen Bennett and Osama were on 100 Next, and they were saying how like, they had a few days where they had like 3 tournaments to play in, and they played like 10 hours that day or something crazy absurd like that.
At least it's not that. It was brutal, and that's been the best change because like you are able to compete in this and still scrim academy teams, as you guys probably should, right? Because I mean, half the teams in amateur can't really hold a candle to you, right?
Yeah.
That was never the case beforehand. Like there, from everyone we talked to, on a news roster with Fire Mike Young got like 1 or 2 academy scrims, and that's it. Like the only people that were scrimming academy was the 100 Next roster because they just scrimmed in house on Mondays, right?
Right.
That is a huge change, and like one of the best changes of this too, because now scouts are constantly seeing talent, and as you've experienced, like I think everyone's been pretty surprised like about the talent that isn't an amateur, and it's one of the reasons that a lot of players got promoted through scouting grounds. There is some talent, and obviously this year like you're coming across some resistance, right? Getting back to like the point, the whole practice on stage thing. Yeah, if a team won game 1 last year, game 2 was a fresh comp, like every single time. Like there's so many best of 3s just because like they were practicing things.
I think we're all like pretty old school in academy. Like we've all had so many years in academy and LCS, which is the big like, okay, you practice for 60 hours, so you're definitely going to play that one comp that worked out a lot for you, and you're going to play it on stage, right? So like it would never happen in academy, or like it would really rarely or pretty much never happen where you just try out a champ for the first time in the match, or like you try out X comp for the first time in a match. So I think we're slowly going away from it, and just we need to like take games a little bit less seriously, I guess, like not in the serious matter of the sense, but like if we lose or drop a game, then it's whatever, like we had to try this, we have to anyways to like improve as a team. So so like basically yesterday or 2 days ago we lost against Maryville, and we didn't really take it hard. We took the wild card game pretty hard for sure, because I'm not sure why we took it harder, but we definitely took it harder than the
Your first
Maryville one.
loss. Yeah.
Yeah, it was first
Mhm.
loss, and also like I guess we weren't just coming back fresh off of a tournament win or a tournament first, you know,
Mhm.
because we just won Risen, and then we had this tournament the next day, and I think everyone
That just
was
sounds
like,
so absurd, like that
I
statement
know,
itself. We just
yeah,
won
it does.
Risen, and we started this next tournament the next day.
Yeah, so everyone was like, all right, we need to like. I think we all realized that we were a lot behind, really behind on the meta because we've been just playing to win for the past 2 weeks
Mhm.
instead of playing to like, you know, try out what's best, try out what's new. And yeah, when we lost to Maryville, I didn't really feel like we lost because we played bad. I thought we played fine. I think we just actually had terrible comps,
Mhm.
terrible champs into what they picked, and
Yeah.
all the games felt very hard. And props to them also. They pulled out some really like, you know, out of
Oh,
the
the
ordinary
Poppy and
picks.
Nivea was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
no, it
I
was.
like
It
that.
was. Yeah, I think they actually drafted very well, and you know, we had no priority on Senna at all prior to that game, and we had no priority on a lot of
Welcome-
champs, TF,
Welcome
Seraphine,
back,
like,
Senna. Yeah.
yep, all these champs that are just S tier now, well, not out of nowhere, but for us, it felt like out of nowhere because we've just been playing these
Yeah.
matches to win and not really caring too much about the meta.
Mhm.
But yeah, ever since that, that we lost to Maryville, ever since that time 2 days ago, I think we have an analyst working for us, so he's gonna, you know, be focused mainly on just updating us on what's being played, what's good, because we don't really have much time to practice it, and we need to know ASAP when
Yeah.
something is like rising up in priority, and I think that'll help us a lot. And yeah, just in general, be more willing to try out stuff that we think are good on game days and just perform. Shouldn't be too big of too difficult.
I don't think this one's a big secret, so I assume this is okay to ask. I
Yeah.
assume this means that you guys are now on the Seraphine Moonstone hype train.
Of course, yeah. I mean, Seraphine, Senna. I played some Seraphine myself in scrims. I never busted out in competitive yet. I think
Yeah.
a lot of champions. I think I don't really play because me and Winston synergy is not too good, and I feel like it would hinder the team's chances of winning. But we're working on it. Working on, you know, just impacting the map. Sorry, as a mid and jungle duo. And once that happens, then I think we'll be very unstoppable. I think right now, you know, the games are slow and the games are losable because we kind of play a farm for team fight kind of style,
Yeah.
which sometimes, you know, we get abused and you know, we get dragons stacked against us because we have late game champs and other teams play pretty well. And then yeah, but once we figure out how to play early game properly, me and Winston, I think, I don't think it will be very close anymore in amateurs.
Kind of, yeah. Kind of going back to like your earlier point about like veterans being on rosters. Winston's definitely your greenest member on your team, which I think you throw anyone in that position with your team of 4, probably the greenest member, right? But he's coming from UWO, which is a sick collegiate team, straight to TSM Academy, and now back here with amateur with your guys' roster. What has it been like working with him and kind of helping him develop the way that, you know, you wish you would have had back when you were just kind of starting out?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's getting, you know, he's getting the most criticism out of all of us, definitely. But I good things to say. He takes it very well. He's not really someone to, like, you know, take it poorly and get upset over it. I think he's also very good. There's no denying that, especially, you know,
he's very good.
compared to amateur players, like he's got very good fingers. He's really good mechanically, and he has, you know, a pretty solid brain. I think we're definitely helping him out with just the style that we want to mold him into, because I think he's a very wild player. So we're trying to help him out a little bit. While I think, you know, it's very important to have this wild factor, I think you also need to know when too much is too much and how to play the game, like, you know, I guess properly is the right word. But yeah, I mean, I think Zazal's been helping him a lot. I think he respects all of our opinions a lot, obviously, while also having some of his own, because it's important not to lose your whole identity as a player, because other players, like, you know, try and guide you. So yeah, I think he's been doing great. Like I said, I'm trying to help him. I'm trying to help us, honestly, because it's not just him. Like, I need to be better at communicating and better at setting up what I want to do on the map with him. So it's just been a work in progress, and I think we're getting pretty close to being ready to pull it out on stage. So I think in the next few days, I think you guys can definitely expect something else than Oriana, Azir, Oriana,
baby. Let's
Syndra, and
go.
Victor. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've been ready to play more champs. I've been craving it because as much as it's fun for me to farm 11 CS per minute every game, it gets boring a little bit. I'm trying to fight, trying to show off some skills. So
we saw a few splashes of that in Risen. We saw you pick that Renekton. We know.
The Renekton.
we know you're itching.
Yeah, I am. Oh, right. I remember that. Yeah. I mean, Silas is getting some buffs as well. The next patch, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't know why that's happening.
Well,
he
Silas
and Karma are getting buffs.
Silas is
I don't know why.
quite weak. I felt like in competitive. I think it's just hard to make it work and win with him. When you're playing control mage, like it's easy to keep him in check compared to the other picks.
I think he's in
I hadn't thought of that.
He's in an okay spot right now though, because I always feel like that champion should just be like, oh, they have Hecarim, Alistar, Ornn. Let's pick Silas, right?
Yeah. But it's really one of those things where we have a rule on our team where we tried Silas and we kind of just he's the banned word of our vocabulary, the S word. We don't really talk about him because no matter how well you do early game, first of all, it's a scrim champ, like people will fight a lot more in scrims, and then on game day they'll slow it down, and then if you don't get a lot of kills, then you use the gold less.
Sure.
You just use it less than like mages. You do less damage, less everything. So we kind of just banned him and Akali, especially. I mean, she got more buffs, but we came into this season thinking Akali was so OP, and then Akali just seems to be such a potato against most comps. Like it takes too long to kill. Yeah, Akali. Yeah. Galio, Kai'Sa, TF,
Alistar.
Lulu, Alistar, Gragas, all these champs like just ruin her life. So it's kind of unplayable for her at the moment, which sucks.
Gragas is so busted right now, man. Please nerf that champ. Oh, it's so dumb. You can you can play him in 3 roles with 3 different builds or 3 different builds top lane. Like, it's just so absurd. Oh,
it is.
He's crazy.
I'm glad I got Dokla, who's one of the best Gragas. I'll probably honestly.
Oh, his Gragas is so sick.
Academy, amateur, LCS.
Same with Zazel's Gragas.
Yep.
That was
they played it a lot, both of them. So.
Yeah, that was the one thing that we were really impressed about with the cup entry tournament is Zazel was gapping supports playing champions like Gragas Shen, where they're on the Own and Nautilus, the other support, right? It's you're expecting all right, they have more agency, they can do more around the map, and Zazel is just zooming around, outplaying them every single way. We're just well, so that's how this season's gonna go.
You forgot Galio. It's almost like you didn't watch my video, Cubby.
I see Galio has a lot of agency though, so that would have defeated the point.
No, I mean I'm excited to start flexing that Galio because I don't know if you guys followed Academy last year, but Galio was permabanned from against me after week 4 for the rest of the year because.
Oh, don't worry. We've seen plenty of Moon come in the chat and just be like, Tuesday Galio now.
yeah, he wants it. I know we've been talking about it, but I don't know. Zazel's stingy with his Galio, so he wants him. He wants it. So
it's
been
pretty strong
hard
right
to
now.
get it.
Yeah.
It is definitely.
Speaking of your coaches, you're working with Sojin again.
Yeah.
He's back.
Yep.
How has that been?
I mean, I recommended Sojin to be our coach. I think he's definitely the type of coach, especially on the team that we have right now. It's weird to say, but we don't really need a how to word this, a gameplay coach. While
you've got Zazel.
Exactly. While we don't need a real gameplay coach, while Sojin does help us a lot with knowledge of specific stuff that's happening, LPL, LCK, stuff like that. You'll help us, and you'll help us go through reviews and stuff. I think Sojin's main strength is that he just brings a really good, productive atmosphere, I guess, which is really important, I think, as a coach to be able to always find solutions to the problems that we're having and getting everyone along so that we can all improve and not at each other's throat or be angry at each other. So yeah, I mean that's Sojin is a great friend of mine. He's obviously I thought he was a good coach when he was coaching us, and he's been doing well with this team as well. Just making sure that everyone's on the same page, improving. So yeah, I don't have many.
Yeah.
I don't have many like bad things to say or anything about Sojin.
Did he instate the stylus S word?
Yeah, I mean, that was like it was a team consensus. Let's say that. I think another thing, Sojin is definitely very open to like what we think is good, what we want to try, and will also let us know if he thinks something is just bad. So that's good.
I met Matt at a collegiate event where Maryville was competing because we were in the same tournament. Really nice guy. Definitely on the quieter side, but
he is.
Yeah, very.
He opens
cerebral.
up once he knows people a lot more.
Yeah, it was like
more.
a big like LAN atmosphere, so I can't blame him there. But no, he's been on a lot of successful rosters throughout his time in collegiate, and then obviously you guys with academy. So he's
sadly for his career trajectory, he got hit with the CLG main team at one point, but he'll bounce back, I'm sure. Yeah,
he'll come back.
He will.
Also took the L against Maryville, which I think.
I'm sure that sting a little bit. I'm sorry,
definitely,
Matt.
I definitely think Corky and Cat God were feeling pretty good about that over there.
Yeah, we let him down against his old team, which it's our fault for sure.
No, it's fine. At least some banger tweets came out of it, right?
That's
like the real trash talk. Like the barrage memes, like were pretty funny. To be fair,
I know
that's like not trash talk, right? Like
it wasn't. I mean, I felt like I was watching the barrage just trash talk, and I don't know. It was weird because I felt like they were just trash talking themselves the entire time, kind of, a little bit.
Like,
and I was like, all right.
I think at one point, like they said, like we are the 5 worst players, but we'll play better as a team. And I was like, wait.
I know. I was like, what's going on, guys?
I was like, I agree with that statement. Like, I actually might use that on the desk. Like, that's not trash talk. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They've got some good content people over there on that team. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, amateurs, like it's been a lot more like games aside, like it's been more fun, like just the community of it, because everyone's a lot more, I guess, eager to, I don't know, yeah, I mean, trash talk, just make the games hype, compared to Academy, where Academy is very stale. And also, I mean, I like a lot of things about amateur, because in Academy, you kind of have your schedule, and you kind of know what you're doing for the next year. You're just scrimming, and then you're playing your match, and then you're hoping for the best, and you scrim more, and then you play your matches. And so like an amateur, literally anything can happen at any time. Sometimes we have like tomorrow there could be a big tournament that's like, hey, any amateur teams, 40K prize pool, something, and then we can just join up, and we have this big tournament that we're participating in now out of nowhere,
Yeah.
While in Academy it's very stale and it's very boring, to be frank. So this has definitely been a fun ride. So.
What I'm hearing is that Jean likes the drama. We need more of the crappy drama coming on through.
It is funny. It is funny to read. Yeah, it's funny to read. I don't try and put myself. But Barrage did a good job. I was definitely feeling the pressure when we played them. Like I know our staff or the SolaFide people really wanted us to win. Against Barrage. So.
As long as it's lighthearted, we are all.
It was fun. It was I appreciated it.
The trash talk would have went a little harder, I think, if any of the teams 3-0'd, but as players,
man. If Doko would have 3-0'd, if you guys would have 3-0'd after that first tweet, that would have been so funny. Or like if Barrage reverse swept or something. Like,
yeah.
Oh, that would have been.
This interview would have been 20 minutes long.
Yeah, because 3-2ing a team, like it doesn't get much better. Well, you just I guess you really what's the word? I'm missing the word, but you really get to sympathize, I guess, with the other team that gets 3-2'd, because when you're 2-2, you know both teams, it's like it's really savage to lose 3-2. It's like, wow, I've just lost after 5 hours of playing League. Now everyone's depressed, and it sucks. I personally
didn't seem to have that much sympathy though.
Yeah, he didn't. But after the game, we were all saying like GGs to each other. There was banter and stuff, and no hard feelings, because. Yeah, I mean, getting 3-2 is rough, and when you're
both
the team who won, when you're the team who won, it's like them. Like it could have been us as well. They definitely played a great series. So, I at least I personally can't speak about being on the 2 side. I've actually never lost a game 5. That's a fun fact of me. Yep. Both of my 4 years of Academy, every game 5 I've won. I think I'm on a 6-game win streak of game 5s right now. So.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my comfort zone, I guess.
We're gonna use that on the broadcast then. Well, we'll get all these tidbits we're getting, Smax.
Of course.
Yeah.
Hopefully, there's not too many more game 5s though, because it's rough on it's rough on the heart for sure.
It's a long day for sure, especially when they start at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thankfully, you guys
Right.
are most of you, I assume, are West Coast because that's where
Yeah,
you're located. So yeah.
most of us are West Coast. I mean, we've also been adjusting our schedule because
Mhm.
you know, since we do this full time, like we just figured that it's best if we
Gamer
just wake
hours.
up. Yeah, exactly. Gamer hours. I try to wake up 3 or 4 hours before my best of. So like I'll wake up around 1 p.m., 2 p.m.
Mhm.
And we have this ritual now with me, Winston, and Zazel where we play the Bloons Tower Defense game till 6 a.m. every night.
No way.
Of course.
Whoa. You gotta add us.
You gotta add
wait,
us,
wait,
dude.
wait.
I'm down.
We've been playing Bloons so
Really?
much. I have
It's
like
so much
40
fun.
hours in that game.
Yeah.
Oh
Nice.
my
So yeah,
God.
we're similar. I'm level 60, I think, right now. or
So
something like
Smax,
Oh,
it was like Christmas. Smax is like gifted like 7 of us the game because it was all $1.
because it was a $1.
Yeah.
that.
I was like,
Really?
Yeah.
yeah,
I bought it for
on
10.
Steam.
Yeah,
I got it.
Rafa
Rip
and
off.
Rafa even squeezed in like a Bloons reference. Like we were like casting you guys, we, like threw it
Yeah.
in there like game 1 because like we haven't played it a little bit, but like dude, the co-op's actually like so fun. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's fun.
actually
We've been
difficult.
playing
So
through
fun.
It's actually challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Uh,
No, we usually our routine is like we'll start at like 2 a.m. because we all want to stay up, so we just stay up together. And at 2 a.m. we'll like start up a 3-man, like one of the expert map on hard, and then we
Yeah.
take like 3 hours to figure out like we take like 3 hours to figure out which exact pattern we have to like play it so we can finish it. So it's been fun for sure.
That's so
this
funny.
is the best possible thing you could have possibly said right now.
I know.
I gotta
I
let
saw
you know.
It's gonna be
I
the
saw
worst
both of your
tangent ever.
faces lighting up.
Yeah, no,
but-
we literally just were like, what? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really funny. We always welcome to join the Monkey Village whenever.
Definitely,
Yes.
yeah. I've been farming
Oh
monkey
my.
cash, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating sometimes because I don't know. I lose after 30 minutes and then.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I
the game's a
know.
tilter. You got to go back to the drawing
I-
board. a
It
lot.
I tried the like impoppable mode or whatever, and I lost on round 90
Oh, yeah,
fucking 3. I
Yeah,
was like,
I know. It's the worst.
Pay
Actually.
money to try again. That's what
Yeah.
they get you, right, Smax?
Oh my! Oh yeah, we had one
Oh.
night where we were so tilted we blew like 4K monkey cash on like continue. The continue button to finish it. It happened. Yeah,
oh, that game is so fun.
Oh boy,
it is.
that's fun.
Yeah.
I like that. It's always fun hearing teams traditions. We had Winter on, and we also talked to him when he was on a new, and they kept on getting tilted after their warm-up games. So they started playing warm-up ARAMs, and ever since then they like just won everything, which was pretty fun.
Nice. Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
did some warm-up ARMs too. I think it's not bad.
Yeah,
It's definitely a good way to just get the vocal cords going.
It sets the
Everyone's
mood.
screaming,
yeah,
Yeah, it sets the mood. It's
right.
good.
Yeah,
and you can't get tilted no matter what.
exactly. Yeah, because
good.
whenever you lose, they just had better draft. It's
You just had better
yeah,
comp. Exactly.
blame coach.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. To get a little bit more back to League here.
course.
You mentioned that the amateur scene is a lot more like player driven. There's some banter. There's a lot of stuff. It's much more interesting for that.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Like you coming into amateur, obviously the main goal here is to win it all,
Mhm.
and I can't blame you for that. I'm sure everyone's main goal is that one.
It's usually a good one.
Yeah, it's a great goal. But I'm curious, like apart from that, what sort of are you using this amateur split to like better the Tuesday brand, because I know like for a lot of these players coming down to amateur, like just to begin with, the public is already like, oh, they're washed up. Like, why are these guys in amateur? I am curious, like what that sort of like means to you, and what like we can do to help you out, because that's what this show is all about. We really want to help people look really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think from what I've seen, I don't want to put out any shade on like the community or anything, but I think people's careers are definitely narratively driven by like what happens, and like some people will have a job off of one play that they made for the past year, and everyone like just remembers them by that one play, and everyone's just hyping them up for that, and things are the best because of it. Casters included, Reddit, whatever. So I think it's not always fair to like the player's strength. So I think this year, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely trying to try and twist the narrative in my favor. I'm not gonna lie, like I want my name to be known as like this guy that carries a lot of games and plays very well, because I know I can. And while I didn't do that last year because I was playing more of like a supportive / like roaming style for the team, even though I carried games that way, I don't think it hits the same as like, high CS score, high damage per minute.
Your
So
average viewer doesn't see it as much.
exactly, like
Which
it's not,
sucks, but-
and the average viewer tends to also be the average GM, which tends to be the average people that gets you jobs. So yeah, so basically I'm kind of just trying to make a name for myself again. I'm still very young. I'm only 22, and while it feels like I've been in the scene forever, this is my first time not being on CLG, which to me feels like a very fresh start. So I don't really care how people view it. I'm just gonna work hard to be like, get to a point where people can't ignore the fact of like how good I am compared to other mid laners. So yeah, that's basically where I'm going with this. I'm gonna work hard for that, and gonna try and twist the narrative in my favor. Post clips on Twitter, whatever, highlights, because I think that's also important.
We appreciated that one, by the way.
Yeah,
the Silas one?
that was a sick play too.
It was, right?
Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
lot of fun casting that. That
I did not mean to
series.
blow up my mic during that one. But I
no
think it
worries.
still worked.
I like the hype, of course.
It was a very cool outplay.
Yeah, I mean, it was very cool because it's rare that, because I think that game was felt pretty lost to us in the game. So it's very rare that like, you get like outplays like that actually turn around a game into a winning game. Well, because when there's outplays, usually it's like, oh, you're already winning, and like this cool little outplay, but
Yeah,
the
then
outcome
the
of the game
next
doesn't
fight-
change too much.
Then the next fight, you guys had Moonstone, just 5 for.
Yeah, I mean, we got Baron off of it. We got like a 3K gold swing, so then we just won. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'll just be. I mean, I already knew going into this year that I wanted to do something different, and especially now that I have the opportunity to play so many games, I want to take more risks and with my plays and like just push my limits a little bit more, because like I said in Academy, it's hard to push your limits. You don't want to, grief or like lose your team an entire 50 weeks of practice because you wanted to try this cool play. It's not really a thing. Well, I think it happens a lot more in amateur, so I'll be seizing that opportunity to make myself look better and make cool plays. And yeah, just push a narrative that I'm obviously the best mid in amateur right now, and that it's not close, and that I'll be taking on Academy mids as well. And yeah, so
that's something that we are looking forward for all you guys to like face off against the Academy teams, and I think that obviously
I can't wait.
Yeah, you talk about like player narratives and like the impact that like casters have on it, and like the community. I mean, that's something like we talked with like Flowers about. Like we had like a group call, and he was really like really intelligent to talk to. Obviously, he is one of the best at his craft. You got to be smart to do that. But he talked a lot about like especially Mike Young and how the narrative just destroyed him, and how everyone like would tune into new games last year and be like, oh, what's Mike Young doing here? He's washed up, and us like we're watching the games. Like I was GM at one point. Smax was Master Tier. We're watching like Mike Young and Flyfire are playing pretty well. Like they like he's moving around the map really well, and it really sucks when the community comes in and is like, oh, why is Mike Young here? He's crap now. It's like, no, he's actually one of the best junglers that we have in amateur. It's frustrating to see those impacts be kind of pushed through to GMs, but on the bright side, once again, with the change of proving grounds, guess what? If Academy teams want to scrim amateur teams, those GMs can see the amateur teams performing every single day in scrims. So that's once again a really good change, and definitely something that we're always rooting for the cream of the crop to rise to the top.
Cool. Yeah.
So
no, I mean,
that's always good.
It definitely sucks to see some people just not get the just the attention and the spotlight that they deserve, because it's happened to a lot of people for sure.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that we did this. But it's something that I think that the community, like the people working in it, and also like the people watching it, kind of have to realize that like GMs make decisions based off of Reddit posts, which is really sad to say, but it's the reality of things.
Yep, it is. Yeah. It's not, obviously not that white and black and white, but yeah, it happens for sure.
It does,
Players know, like every player know, and you can't really fight against it because it's your livelihood and it's your career, and we just all are here playing our hardest and hoping for the best. So
all right, we've got some fun questions too, if you want to dive into those.
Yeah, we got a couple of fun ones. That was like kind of like a somber one, but
all right.
Yep.
Here's one for you. When he's legal, do you think that we will be able to see you play Viego in Big League?
I have a pretty bad history of not learning champs until they become good. So I'm sad to tell you that. But
I think it's pretty good. Is that enough?
Is that just the Reddit narrative
I might have
Tuesday,
to.
or is that your narrative?
That's my narrative, sadly. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna look to change that because it feels like every new Riot champ is just broken. So I don't
it's
really have a
crazy.
chance.
Yeah.
I don't really have a choice but to play them. So yeah, I think I'll definitely take on Viego. I'll take the time to read his abilities and stuff. I don't know. I'm in tournaments, and I guess I'm in the old school mindset of like, I'm in tournament, and
last
Viego's
patch.
disabled.
Yeah.
Viego's disabled, so there's no reason for me to play him. But I think I'll just try and take things a little more lightly and just have fun with it, play it. So yeah, I mean, I think the champion is really cool from what I've seen, and looks quite OP sometimes. So I'll have to give it a try.
Well, if you have trouble, picking up new champs, you can just play him and then pick up the new champs all at one time.
Right.
That's perfect.
Two birds with one stone or something.
The solution. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a chance to play him either. I've been busy inting Cubby in our duo queue.
Nice.
So yeah, that was a little bit rough. I mean, honestly, that was my fault. I didn't pick Seraphine, and the other team got her. So
whatever.
Yeah, Seraphine is quite broken right now, and hopefully, is she getting nerfed in this next patch? I didn't check.
Nope.
Senna or Udyr's getting.
No. Actually,
Udyr is getting nerfed.
she is.
Thank God,
Seraphine,
Udyr's getting nerfed.
Seraphine is getting nerfed.
Good.
Yeah, her shield is lower. I think it's it. But
cool.
That's something.
Yeah, that's deserved for sure.
Alt range or alt speed, please. That thing is way busted.
Oh god, the alt. Okay, yeah. This is a little bit unrelated, but in that game that Cubby and I played, we were winning the game until she pressed R one fucking time, and we just lost immediately. It was disgusting.
It's too much range, too much speed.
It happens to the best of us. I remember that one game where Paulo got hit by like 3 Seraphine ults in a row without flashing it.
Yep.
Yeah, I was happy about it. My little guilty pleasure side of it. I was like, hell yeah, I get to get all the glory now. I was just running around on Victor. With 5 items, just literally zapping and one-shotting everyone. So I didn't really mind that he died, but. If it was a different game, it would have been a little bit more tragic.
You gotta appreciate it when the best team fighting AD carry we have, or one of the best team fighting AD carries in LCS is down in amateur, and he throws away a couple team fights, and Jean just like, all right, it's my time to shine. Here we go.
I know, it's my time to
I got this.
Yeah.
All right, I have another fun question for you. If you want to answer this one, you don't have to. But who do you think is the top 5 teams in amateur that you've played against so far? You can put your guys at the top. That's completely
fine. I mean, obviously we're at the top right now. We're gonna get a lot better too. I don't really like how close our games are. It's not, I'll go to your fun question later, but when we 3-2 teams like this, especially the EGP series, I think it's like a weird feeling where we won the whole tournament, but at the same time, at least I felt pretty bad about it, and I'm sure the rest of the team also felt pretty bad about it because, like with our history, like we need to prove that we're above these guys. However good they are, I think they are pretty good. But if we want to look good ourselves and have a good narrative, we need to be, stomping them. We don't need to just be like winning like barely on like game 5. So
it's pretty high pressure for you guys to consistently do that, right?
No, it's definitely high pressure.
I can just see like the Twitch chat tomorrow, like when we premiere this, like hearing you say we're not really happy with like how close the games we have, like, or how close the series are, and just like everyone's like monk ass. It's like SolaFide still coming for us.
I know. Yeah, I mean we're definitely working hard on cleaning up our games because we don't want it to be close. But besides that, I mean, I think. In order, I don't know. I really thought coming into this split that a new main team was going to be our main rivals, but then I saw them play very poorly, and it was kind of interesting to see. It feels like they're not really adapting their styles either. So
the Vayne top could not beat the ultimate weak side warrior.
I think we have like 7 Vayne top games so far.
Yeah, exactly. So they're just doubling down on it. Maybe it'll work out for them. But I think they've probably dropped a little bit on my tier list. I think Barrage is probably
Riven's getting buffed.
Riven is getting buffed. Yeah, I saw that. I instantly thought that we had to ban Riven, but we'll see. I'll have to talk with Dokla about it. We'll see if his ego is holding up, or if he's actually going to allow it to ban it. So, so I think Barrage is probably the second best team right now. They're playing a good series against us, and that's the only games that I have that I can base like them off of, because we haven't scrimmed them, so it's hard to say. But I think we're probably gonna scrim them in the next few weeks, or the next few days or something. So I'll have a better read on it. But I think Barrage is second. I think a new main team, I still have to put them at, in the top 3, because they just have such a strong, like, Viper, and I think Five Fire is pretty decent too, and so is Value and Big T. I mean, it's all pretty good names. So they're all like pretty close to us in terms of experience and level. So definitely good. And then I would have to go with EGP, I think, because they made finals, and even though they play a weird style that I personally think is very flawed and not good, they make it work. So I can't really say anything, but they win. So
the
it
Tomio
works.
funnel, baby.
I know. I mean, it's crazy how they play. Like, I couldn't believe it. They just a lot of, I don't know. It's like they incorporate a lot of solo queue into their gameplay, which makes sense because they have a lot of solo queue players, not a lot of experienced players, and they make it work, and they play it very well. So I think as the teams get better, I think this team will get worse, if that makes sense. I think as the team clean up their mishaps and mistakes, I think that team's like style will be harder to pull off.
They've also been playing for 3 months. You guys have been playing for 3 weeks. So
right.
Yeah, that I am with you on that. I think they're a very talented team and a lot of good young players, but I'm with you.
I mean, I just think I don't think they'll make, I mean, maybe they'll make finals again, but I doubt it. So I think EGP 4th, and on the 5th team, Maryville. I think Maryville is actually playing very good.
Chippy's a good player.
Chippy is very good. He was actually unkillable on that Aatrox game. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
But I
his
think
Q placements were really sick.
I think Maryville has good support and a good jungler, which is super important right now in the meta. Support jungle just run the map. So
that duo is gonna beat a lot of teams.
Yeah, Orange Shady are pretty good. So I think maybe honestly Maryville can be higher than 5th. I've only played 3 games against them. I don't really know much about them, but I think they'll probably look to prove themselves in this tournament.
They came out with a statement
in the big league. Yeah. They did. Yeah, they're 2-0-2-0. So we don't play them again until finals, I think, probably, since we've already had our match against them.
You guys will be opposite sides of the bracket with the groups, most likely.
Probably.
I don't know exactly what Big's format is.
It could just be on a dime as well, random. We might play them on first seed. Who knows?
Yeah. We don't need to talk about Big now. We've had a good time so far. We don't need to talk about that. So
we'll see. But I think that's probably my top 5. I think every team's good, but like I said, I don't really want to. I don't want to sound cocky saying that, but I don't want to like get myself too tangled up into the amateur teams. I want us to be playing and just be thinking on a different level than these teams, and be only looking at academy, because that's kind of what we have to do if we want to make it to the next level in our careers. So we'll be working very hard for that, and I'm excited to play these teams though, because it's always good
given
practice.
Your pedigree and the play you've shown so far, there's absolutely no ego in saying that. I think that you were I would expect nothing less. I was saying that on Tim's podcast earlier for you guys. I was like, I think these guys want a top 4 proving grounds. Like that's the goal.
Yeah, definitely that's the goal. Yeah. That's the goal of the org as well. I think I didn't mention that, but that's what they said. They said they'd be very happy with top 4 proving grounds. So
that's very clear with the investment they're making. They're making a big investment. So
yeah.
All right, definitely. I have one more fun question for you.
Cool.
And then if Cubby has anything too, then we can let you go do your stuff today.
He's the whimsical one. I'll let him. He gets to take all the fun questions.
All right.
Okay. How good do you think your former teammate and now person who has taken your spot that you've had for 5 years in Deus/RJS? How good do you think he's gonna do in the academy split?
Well, RJS was actually a millionaire at first. I think you both know this, I'm sure. But at my first ever scouting grounds, he was one of the 4 millionaires that were there. So we kind of go way back. Actually, me and him have had like this weird rivalry, I feel like, ever since 4 years ago when we made scouting grounds. Fun fact, he almost made me drop out of scouting grounds because we would like chat to each other on the client, and for some reason we both wanted to go in as like the first seed, right, the highest LP, to go into that scouting grounds. And I remember that I was kind of camping my LP because everyone was smart, was kind of camping their LP because you don't want to you don't want to miss out on like this insane opportunity just because you tilt played 2 days in a row where you lost 20 games, right? So yeah, I was camping and I was above him and he was playing and he got above me and he messaged me and he's like, "Hey, enjoy your second seed or something." And I remember that day I queued up because I wanted to be first seed. So I queued up, lost 3 games in a row, and I was so ready to just literally like, I was so tilted. I was I was like a little like 17-year-old at the time, like super emotional. So I was ready to just, go back to D1, and I kept on playing, and then I ended up winning like 5 games, luckily, and then I kept my LP, and I ended up going as first seed. So yeah, that's the story where he almost made me drop out completely of Scouting Grounds because of emotion.
Thankfully, they changed that format, or at least, well, it does.
Right.
I don't know if it's gonna exist anymore, but like they took it like every week. So that
yeah, it's not
exist,
just one cutoff anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, then he joined CLG as a top laner. I think when he first started, I think Deuce as a person or as a player is very talented, but also takes a little bit of time to ramp up. I think he was probably one of the worst tops when he first joined CLG, which makes sense, I don't even know if he was a top man at the time. I think he kind of played it in Korea, but he was not like,
His Gangplank was sick.
Yeah, I mean, he has he has a few champs where he's actually so good at, it's crazy. Like one trick level type of good, which is rare to see. But yeah, so he was really good at Gangplank, and then maybe like I think his Aatrox was very good when he first joined CLG as a top laner. And he just ramped up that year to become, at the end of last split, people considered him as like a top 3 top laner in the league, which is definitely remarkable. Like I think maybe not top 3 in academy, maybe like but I don't know. I mean, he made semifinals and he was one of our best players as a team. Or most
I had him a little bit lower, but he's a good player, right? I didn't have.
Yeah, I mean, there's good names. There's big names also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's still like Dokla's still like very good top laner in academy last year.
Dokla, Fudge, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, Revenge put his mark as well. Fake God, all these guys are very good as well.
I was not high. I had RJS rated much higher than Revenge. Fake God's pretty good, but I would have put him like close to like Fake God level. Different players, but yeah.
I mean, he's definitely very different. He has his play style. He has his champions that he's very good at. I also think he's not, the best or like the most like meta-driven player. He likes to play his champs and he likes to make it work, and he usually does. So I think, like you did with top lane, I think it's going to take him a little bit of time to ramp up in mid lane. I think right now, like while he's talented and while he has good mechanics, I think his knowledge of the game as a mid laner is still quite low. So I'm excited to play him. I really want to knock out CLG of the Academy Proving Grounds. So I'm going to be looking forward to that. I hope they make it.
Got your old buddies.
I hope no other teams get sorry. I hope no other teams get to knock them out before I do, but yeah, I'm excited to play him. I'm really good friends with him now, so it's no hard feelings. I think he will be really good within the year. I think it will just take him a little bit of time to ramp up, which is completely fine.
Well, hey, Silas might get buffed next patch.
Yeah, I mean,
help.
It would help for me especially. I'm much more of a Silas player than he is. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it's been I think it's was an interesting choice for him to go back in the mid lane. I thought, I thought he was very close to LCS as a top laner, especially for CLG, because, I think, I don't know if they had their eye on him to make him go up, but I know Moon thought he was very good because Moon was coaching us, and now he went to main team, so I'm sure he was not too far off of like getting a chance. So, but I think from what from talking to him and from my understanding, he just didn't really like top lane as a role and wanted to play mid more, which makes sense. Top lane sounds quite boring. It's
the worst.
Yeah, you can get weak side and then you don't have really any agency on the game. So
weak side warrior, baby.
Yep, mid lane you can usually always farm up and be somewhat relevant. And I think he's just a mid laner at heart, which I respect the choice. Like I said, no hard feelings at all that he took the spot. I think I was going to, I had to leave no matter what. So I'm very happy with where I am now, and looking forward to see him grow. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good by the time summer comes around. I'm expecting him to be one of the top dogs in academy mids. I think,
I
think he'll ramp up faster than other rookies for sure.
Yeah, and hey, it's good that it worked out for both of you, right?
Yeah.
Both in nice spots now, and I know.
I mean, he's on CLG Academy, so I don't know how nice of a spot that is, but
as you lean forward in the CLG chairs in your background, yeah.
Right.
I'm just calling. I'm not even calling that CLG Academy. I think they have to change up their name because 3 out of their 5 players have name swapped this year.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep. I was considering name swapping too to Sebastian, but I ended up
okay.
taking against it. Yeah, going against it. Yeah, because my name is John Sebastian, my first name, so I was gonna go with the Sebastian side, but honestly, I don't really mind. I got some good supporters out of the Tuesday whole thing that happened, so I was like, yeah, I'll just keep it at it for now.
I thought you were gonna pick a different day of the week.
No, not quite. I do get that one pretty often though.
He was gonna go Friday, baby. Support Friday beers.
Yeah.
I love that Instagram account way too much. Yeah. Oh man.
All right. Well, I'm out of fun questions. Cubby, what do you?
I'm out of boring questions.
All right. Well,
Alrighty
Tuesday,
then.
I guess that means that we're done.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a really, really fun time talking to you.
It was fun.
I'm so glad
no
that
worries.
we have a fellow Bloons aficionado in the
Yes, sir.
the Proving Ground scene.
Very
nice.
Oben's hands down the best hero. That's how we're gonna wrap this.
Oh, that's the guy I've been playing, but
Yes.
you know,
Cubby,
you gotta save up for Benjamin. Benjamin
I
is
bought
the guy
Benjamin.
Benjamin makes a lot of money. He's OP apparently.
Dude, I just want
bought
Pat
him.
Futsy, man. That's the greatest name of all time. It's Pat Futsy, and he just slaps balloons with his hands.
I have not
He
seen
can-
that yet.
You
Oh,
can put him
fun.
in the water. He's so
What?
big of a monkey. You
Really?
can put him in the water.
OP.
Yeah. It's
Oh.
pretty
Well,
funny.
I'll have to test it out for
Big
sure.
fan of Pat Futsy. All right.
But yeah, is there any like last words that you want to say before we close out the show here, John?
Not really. I mean, thanks for doing this. Also,
course.
thank you guys for casting and doing these amateur tournaments. I've actually been, every day before the show starts, I watched the opening routine or whatever of you guys, and I think it's nice to see you guys putting in so much work. And
You saw the
I
hot dogs.
I did. I see everything. And
I had no
you guys,
involvement in that.
you guys have been putting in a lot of work, and there's like good synergy between all of you guys, and the casting has been great. I was even talking with Moon and all these guys, and they've all realized like the production level and the casting level that you guys are doing is very high, and you guys have been doing a great job. So
Yeah,
it's good to see.
Thanks,
It's fun to watch.
we heard from Galen as well. So I appreciate that. And it's fun. And hey, for us, we're trying to make it too. So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
true.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I
This
think
is our
you guys are
proving
doing a great
grounds
job at it. So hopefully we all make it
Thank you
2021.
so much.
that's the goal.
Yep.
We appreciate the kind words, and thanks so much for coming on and dropping time out of your schedule to join us. And I had a great time. So it was really
Yep.
fun learning more about you, and best of luck to you and everyone else in SolaFide for the season. Where can we follow you on the Twitter sphere?
Mostly just Twitter,
Yeah.
Tuesday_LOL. I don't really use Instagram. I have one, but and
That's
then
fine.
maybe on my Twitch as well, which is also Tuesday_LOL everywhere. So
Perfect.
Sweet.
Okay.
All right. Well, again, thank
you
you
very
so
much,
much
guys.
for so much for coming on the show, and thank
Yep.
you guys all so much for listening in as well. This has been the third episode of Proving Grounds Pod on all the platforms now. We've got it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google. Of course, if you're watching this live, then it's on Twitch and YouTube too. I believe that's all of them. Cubby.
And just you can subscribe through Anchor.fm and consume the
Yeah,
podcast
that too.
however you'd like that way. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for listening in. We'll be back. We changed the time, in case you didn't notice, to fit with the Academy schedule. So we'll be back next Thursday at 9 Eastern time. So check us out there. You can also check us out on Twitter. We have a Discord server now, if you want to check that out too. And yeah, that's all. Thank you so much for listening in. We'll see you next time.